A very good evening to you. Welcome to another edition of the Business Advocate on Ghana Television, brought to you by the Booster Fan, GBC, and GJA. Tonight, we're looking at support for the cashew industry in Ghana, prospects and challenges on the third day of the third month of the year 2016. And native to Brazil, cashews are crescent-shaped nuts with a sweet flavor and countless and unimaginable uses in the kitchen, restaurant, in between meals, after meals, before meals. Cultivated in more than 30 countries, cashew requires a hot, humid climate like that of Ghana to proliferate, which is why India, Brazil, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Nigeria are the largest raw cashew producers. Currently, Ghana has also joined the Committee of Cashew Producers in the world. Available data from the World Bank indicates that the value of Ghana's total cashew production, raw nuts and kernel, I should say, increased from $142 million in 2010 to $276 million in 2014. Now, these figures reflect an increase in cashew production contribution to Ghana's GDP from 21% in 2010 to 30% in 2014. Going forward, over the past 1 year, cashew production in Ghana has grown significantly as total output of raw cashew nuts increased from 50,000 metric tons in 2014 to approximately 70,000 metric tons in 2015. However, these volumes of production are still woefully inadequate to feed the local cashew processing industry in Ghana. In fact, available data also indicates that even though Ghana currently has 12 primary cashew processing units with a total installed capacity of 65,890 metric tons in 2015, the processing industry is able to process only 5,230 metric tons of raw cashew nuts per year, representing some 7.9% of its total capacity. There's more to these figures and facts I'm giving out, which will direct your attention to the fact that we really need to do a lot more to push cashew. In view of these challenges, stakeholders in Ghana's cashew industry, such as the African Cashew Initiative, ACI, and the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana, have been discussing the need to adopt strategies to increase local production of raw cashew nuts from the current annual output of 7,000 metric tons to about 150,000 metric tons by 2025, and also increase the value of exported cashew kernel by enabling Ghana's processing industry to process between 50 and 75% of locally produced cashew nuts. Mouthful. Now, experts believe that cashew production has the potential to spark a revolution in food production and boost the foreign exchange earnings in Ghana, if taken seriously. Tonight, business advocates will consider the potential of the cashew industry in Ghana, what challenges face the industry, and also explore what benefits the crop would have when it comes to diversifying agriculture, and find out whether the industry deserves any strategic support. The program is brought to you by the Booster Fan, GBC, and GJA. Let me quickly, before I introduce my guest this evening, give you our SMS line again, 0261783382. Our number is 0261783382. Please don't call the number, just send us your text messages and we'll address them for you. I have very well-able personalities here tonight. Let me start introducing them. On my immediate right, I have Mr. Seth Osei Akoto, who is the Deputy Director Crops and is also in charge of cashew at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Fantastic. The only woman amongst us tonight is the Miss Mary Ajanyo, Director, Private Sector Development at the African Cashew Initiative, Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I also have Dr. Gideon Agble, Executive Board Member, Cashew Industry Association of Ghana. Good evening, Doc.
Good evening,
welcome.
sir. Thank you.
Right ahead of me, I have Papa Battles, if you like, is in charge of logistics and value chain, Ministry of Trade and Industry. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You're also welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, so straight to business tonight. And Briefly, I want to know when the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana was formed, its membership strength and aims and objectives.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, as an executive board member of CRIG, I think this question is directed to me.
Absolutely.
Yes. In 2012, you know, after a decade of highly successful production of raw cashew nuts in Ghana, we realized that we have neglected something in particular, the business side of cashew trading and the commercial side of cashew activity, cashew trading and cashew activity generally. But we have done so well in the production. So we realized that we needed to come together as an industry in order to find a way of improving standards and regulation concerning the industry. So leading organizations, leading businesses in the cashew sector came together in 2012 to form an association known as the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana, and it was registered in September 2013. So the leading members included Kona Agro-Processing based in Wenchi, Mem Cashew Processing based in Mem Township, Wamel International based in Accra, Winka Processing, and as well as Olam Ghana Limited. So these are the foundational members who came together to form the association. But we have grown since then to include about 30 organizations, both farmer-based organizations, as well as processing organizations and trading unions and associations at various levels of the country, in the country. Particularly the Ghana Cashew Buyers Association, which is also a member, has also joined us, which is based in Sampa, basically. So we have about 30 organizations that are part of us, and then some farmer unions and associations, including Wenchi Cashew Cooperative Society and the union as well as the Jamaica South Cashew Farmers Union. I mean, these people control about 10,000, they have about 10,000 farmer members, as well as Bankilusu Cashew Farmers Association based in Bole. So together, our members control associations or unions that are part of the Ghana Cashew Industry Association of Ghana, have about 10,000 farmers under them. But of course, cashew is grown wider across the transitional belt of Ghana, and so the number of farmers in the region of about 50,000 farmers. Yes, exactly. So, and also our processors employ in the region of 10,000 plus people, mostly women, and in terms of cashew processing. So that is how far our tentacles are drawn or are extended to.
Doc, in one sentence, can you give me the players in the value chain? Who and who are the players? I mean, the processors, blah, blah, blah. Who are they?
Specific organizations or the chain, the value chain, what it represents?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we start from the farmers.
Yes,
we cherish them very much. They are the base of the production of cashew, you know. So we have the farmers. From farmers, we have pickers, and these are mostly females. You know, cashew is a labor-intensive production, so it does employ a lot of people. So from pickers, we have also young men who normally dry them. And then we go on to transportation of the logistics aspects and freight forwarding. And then we also have processors, traders, and then processors, you know, as well as the final, those who work at the port. So we have about 7 groups of identified players, you know, in the chain, you know, that are involved in cashew business.
I see. Very interesting. Let me find out from the Ministry of Food Industry and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. First, MOFA. What is your role, you know, in ensuring that we give maximum support to the cashew industry? From what he said means that although people might not know a lot about the industry, it's a big industry, and look at the employment it generates now. What role are you playing, MOFA, in strengthening the industry?
Well, thank you very much. MOFA, as a ministry, is coordinating, promoting the development of cashew in the country. Cashew, as we have been told, started a long time ago, but the emphasis started when the Ministry of Food and Agriculture had a loan from African Development Bank to implement a project. Project name, Cashew Development Project, which started from 2002 to 2010. Then, within the time frame, all sorts of activities happened in the industry. That is when I can say with certainty that cashew activities started in the country. Although it started in the 1960s, but along the line, the industry collapsed.
Yes.
Then within the time frame that I've mentioned,
Now, the 8-year period.
the 8-year period,
Yes.
we started mobilizing farmers to start planting. Then, besides the mobilization of the farmers, we also realized that we needed to be able to support extension, to be able to support the farmers what they are doing. Likewise, we realized that also we needed to also support research, also to support the industry. And then similarly, the processors and the other actors were not left out in the whole implementation chain of the project. I can say with certainty that some strides were made during the time frame. That is when we did introduce improved seeds, improved planting material to farmers. That is when liaising with the research institution, that's Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, to come out with technologies that were given to farmers to be able to expand. There were some existing farms, to be able to manage existing farms, to expand and then establish new farms. Also, at that period of time too, some processors were also given and support by the project. Then, at the end of the project, that of which ended in 2010, that is where the challenge started from. At that time, we didn't have much funding to continue, although we did realize that there were some activities that we didn't manage to handle within the time frame. Now, we brought the whole industry from, we needed to add 18,000 hectares to an existing hectares of 18,000. That is one of the parameters or the indicators of the project. We succeeded in doing that. Then, beyond that, we needed to scratch from the processing side. And then at that time, we managed to bring some processors on board. At that time, the processing installed capacity was around 2,000 or almost 3,000 plus. That's the total installed capacity of the country within the time frame. Then at the same time, the research also managed to come out some recommendations that we had given the recommendation to farmers, especially planting material improvement.
Okay.
And then within the planting material thematic area research, Cocoa Research had come out with some clones, which we already started distributing to farmers. We started from 2000 and now up to 2015. Within that time frame too, African Cashew Initiative also came in to support us.
So we'll be asking for their support
Yes.
But before I come to you, Mary, Paco, from the Ministry of Trade and Industry, what has been your role? We've heard from MOFA, the role of your ministry.
Yeah, the ministry, recognizes, the pivotal role that cashew can play in the growth of our economy, and we have, as a country, pursued an export diversification program, and in that we seek to deploy, strategies and measures that would ensure that we have maximum dividend for the exports that we send out. Now, recognizing that and then looking at Ghana's development, paradigm, we have rolled out a national export strategy. And in that national export strategy, cashew is a key commodity that we are looking at supporting for its development in the country. In fact, if I can just give you, like he spoke about the thematic areas, the national export strategy is looking at expanding the production and supply base. It is also looking at the export market development and manpower development and institutional capacity building for export. And then the kind of incentives that is needed and the regulatory framework. And then, of course, there are cross-cutting issues. When Doc was speaking, he mentioned the fact that women, the issue of gender is central. So the export strategy is looking at all these issues, and we are collaborating with virtually all the key stakeholders. I know that the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana has a 10-year development plan.
Okay.
And we are looking at a 5-year development plan. So as it is, what we intend to do is embedded in what they are looking to also do, but in a much more expanded form. So as a ministry, we recognize the pivotal role that cashew can play in driving our economy. So that is how come the export strategy, in the export strategy, cashew is a major commodity that we're seeking to support for its growth. Okay. Like he said, the kind of equipment that we have in the country to support, for instance, processing, we need to look at it very well. In fact, he mentioned the value chain. And if you look at the value chain, there are actors within the value chain, and there is the action. For instance, he mentioned the farmers and then the pickers. All of them would probably constitute the production aspect. And then he mentioned those who dry, and then those things. Yes, exactly. They would constitute, for instance, the processing. So we need to, as a matter of critical urgency, look at look at the value chain, do a clear audit of the value chain to see where we have shortcomings and then fill in. And that is what the export strategy it intends to do. So this will be done in collaboration with all the key stakeholders, like the Cashew Industry Association of Ghana, even the ACI, MOFA, the district assemblies, in fact, all the key stakeholders that are involved in the industry.
We'll be looking at what role they also play. Okay. But Mary, at a point in time, Mr. Osekoto introduced you into the discussion. So let me start from you, the only lady amongst us. At what point did you come in, and what your support like, in strengthening the industry?
Good. So basically, for me, cashew is a global crop. Yeah. And whenever you talk about cashew, you have to think global and think regional in some cases. So we look at in 2009, the total global production of cashew in Africa was 38% of the total global production. And then looking at Africa, the cashew amount of cashew processed was very little. So our key aim is to increase the competitiveness of the African cashew production and processing. Therefore, the African Cashew Initiative was set up, which is actually a strategic alliance between private and public actors in the chain, led by the German International Development Corporation, and also made up of people such as different organizations such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the German government. In Ghana, we talk about the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, and several private and public actors in the chain, such as also Olam and the Ghana Cashew Industry Association. So our key aim is to increase the competitiveness of total production and processing. And as I said, cashew is a regional global crop. Therefore, we work across many countries. We work in Ghana, Benin, Burkina Faso, in Cote d'Ivoire, and Mozambique mainly.
I see. And
the reason we take cashew is that it's a crop that needs a lot of attention. Today, I can say that the total global market for cashew is growing at 10% annually. So there's a huge market for cashew in the USA, in India, in Europe, and also an emerging market,
so the demand
China.
is huge, right?
So the demand is very, very huge.
I see.
And there's therefore a lot of opportunity. If we come back to Ghana, there's a huge opportunity for Ghana in the area of production. For example, Ghana is currently the country with the highest yield per hectare in the whole African region. And the reason is because of the dedication of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the Cocoa Research Institute to develop early in the region when, to develop already improved planting material for the sector. And this improved planting material has also been distributed to a large extent. So this made Ghana the country with the highest production in terms of hectare, in terms of total quantity per hectare today. So for me, the key issue is that there is a huge potential and we need to make cashew a more competitive crop.
Doc, we've heard good stories from the MOFA, from Ministry of Industry and also ACI. What really is the problem that you're facing?
Okay.
These are fantastic stories, but then there's a problem.
Yeah, you know, just to put it in perspective, in 2002, we were exporting about 5,000 metric tons of cashew.
2002, okay.
Yes. By the time Ministry of Agri had run the cashew development program, when it ended in 2010, we were exporting about 40,000 metric tons of cashew. That is a quantum leap we made.
I see.
And that is the effort the Ministry of Agri put into it to expand, you know, the production of cashew. However, you know, like a beautiful girl, when you have a beautiful girl in your home, you know, the boys start coming.
Oh, yeah.
So once we started producing good quality cashew, the big guys, the big players started coming in, you know, to set up shop in Ghana to process. And to the point that we even have more installed capacity for processing than what we produce locally. So that is the reverse sort of thing that has happened.
That's what the gap is.
Exactly. You know, our success story has brought us certain challenges. We have all kinds of people also coming in to trade, to buy and export. So we have industry, people processing. You know, they've set up shop to process all the cashew that we produce in Ghana. At the same time, too, we have big players who are coming in, who have the capacity to export all that we are producing.
I see.
So there's a competition between the processors and then the buyers or the traders who are exporting, which means that supply is very, very low, demand is very, very high. As a result of that, the price of Ghana's cashew is rising. The raw nuts is increasing higher and higher. And our farmers are having a good time, which is good for them, but it's not good for the industry as a whole. Because our local industries cannot compete with the cheap dollars that is coming in. You know, they are taking, most of the foreign traders are taking loan at an interest rate of between 3 and 4%, the dollar. But you know, if you're taking a loan in cedis, it is something else. It is above 30%.
Yeah,
so our processors are not competitive. They do not have the wherewithal, the financing to be able to compete aggressively with these foreign traders. And most of these foreign traders are exporting to India and Vietnam. Their governments are subsidizing them.
I see.
So we are at a double disadvantage.
Right from the beginning.
Right, exactly. So we think that we need to ramp up production again. Run a similar program to what was done between 2002 to 2010 so that we can be very, very competitive. We can have enough nuts for everybody. Again, and I don't like doing this comparison, but just to put it in perspective again, Cote d'Ivoire, our next door neighbor, is producing about 10 times what Ghana is producing. Yes, they're producing about 600 plus or metric tons of cashew. And Ghana is just producing 10% of what Cote d'Ivoire is doing. They're beating us at cocoa, they're beating us at cashew, they're beating us at pineapple, they're beating us at palm oil.
Right. Is it because they have support from the
yes,
government?
Right. The government of Hifo had always ensured that his ministers, his public servants, everybody, you know, understands agriculture. And we also need to do that and make sure that we have lands available, we have support to our farmers to increase production. And we need to find the money. We've done it before, and we think that we can do it.
I see. Now, from the time that the funding ceased, Mr. Osakoto, what have we done as a state to revamp the industry?
Well, after the end of the project, which was 2010, like Dr. Agbe has said, we had some challenges from our side and the whole industry as a whole. From our side, we needed to, having realized that the supply and demand is a challenge, to realize that there's a need for us to be able to expand area under cultivation, intensify, put up technologies that will ensure that the existing farms also producing are very productive. But regarding the support was dwindling. So as a result of that, the necessary activities that should have put in place to be able to cope with the situation on hand is not moving as expected.
Is it a matter of, for want of a better word, let me be careful, misplaced priority? Because with all these positive figures coming out of the cashew industry, one will expect that the reality will prevail, that support must go, they will identify a cashew as a foreign exchange earner, and obviously the support must come. What really was
Well, I would not say it's a mispriority.
That is why I said I was using that word.
I would say, from our perspective, is that we are not making noise.
Okay.
As an industry. Why do I say so? Because now, if you heard Dr. Agbe,
Yes.
it's only recently that we have had an industry association come into play to support the public-private sector. Okay? As a government, we have our own limitations. But if the private sector will come in to join the public, be able to make the noise, to be able to attract the necessary investment, not necessarily private sector not involved in production. They also can also involve in production and support production activities. But that one, we are also not getting that. So as a result of that, the necessary outputs that would have driven the industry is not there. And that is what is collapsing some of the investments that the private sector participants have made, especially regarding the processing. And that is where we are now.
Doc, I'll come back to you on this. So what is the industry calling for now? Now we've identified the problems, the gaps, and we've also seen the potential of this industry. What are you calling for?
You know, Mr. Bartels did mention that we've been interacting with the Ministry of Trade and Industry. But we have also, and then you also mentioned that we've developed a 10-year development program.
That's right.
The proposals we have put forward cuts across, it's multi-sectoral. It cuts across the Ministry of Finance, Trade, Agriculture. You know, all these ministries have their separate heads. And so one of our successes so far, and thanks to the Minister of Trade, Honorable Spio Gabra, he was able to put up quickly an interministerial committee to set up and to see how we can push this forward. But we believe that in the first program, the first cashew development program, financed by the government of Ghana and the African Development Bank, can be repeated because informal discussions shows that the African Development Bank and a lot of international organizations are ready to come and partner with us. So we need government to put in a paper, you know, securing these facilities. They might not come free, but they come cheap. You know, when you're, dealing with a sovereign nation like Ghana, interacting with the African Development Bank, so that we can put together a team to look at these proposals that we have put forward. Proposals to increase production, you know, and proposals to support our processes, making sure that we create two things. One, a window for them to be able to buy enough nuts that they want, but not all of them have the money to buy when they need to buy. But also create what we call a warehouse receipt system, whereby an institution will buy and store the cashew for them. As and when they need them, you know, they go and buy them from that central warehouse or institution, you know. And also we intend to ensure that we double the nurseries that we have so that we can subsidize the seedlings that we're producing in order to increase the production of cashew.
So do I get the impression that the steps you've enumerated, you know, are same in other countries like Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, that's doing well? I mean, is that so? Because what are you calling for? Because on the ground, they are doing better than us. Yeah. What actually, are we calling for that will also match up?
Yes, Cote d'Ivoire actually, over the past week, they've even increased the levies that they put on their exports.
Okay.
We don't charge anything. People come and buy and for free, and then they leave the country.
Okay.
So by putting on a levy, we can recoup some of the money from the industry itself and apply it back into production, particularly, to support our farmers to grow more. So one of the things we've suggested to government is to have a development levy, a cashew development levy, about 2.5% on export. Now this will discourage export a little bit and encourage processing more, so that our processors will have something to.
Because you have a lot of processors now.
Exactly.
We have a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. So that the money that will be raised will be plowed back into the industry. Basically, it's not a very liked idea,
exactly,
but Cote d'Ivoire is doing it, and it's working well for them. And I think we can implement something similar, to generate more revenue, for the industry.
No. So we had the impression also that so far so good in terms of the collaboration between the association, Ministry of Trade Industry, and MOFA.
Yeah, exactly.
You think
exactly.
so? That
yes, these papers have been sent to them, and they are looking at them. They're studying them. But we would wish that action is expedited, on them, so that we can hear some good news and start implementing, some policies as quickly as possible. Okay.
Before we continue, let's do a few messages that we have. People are really interested in the discussion, and okay, let me see. A lot of dropped in so far. Wow. Okay, let me start this one says, my name is Theophilus. I say I see some good improvement was achieved, but government should do more to increase the production of cashew. Okay, that's a straightforward thing. There's a few. This one says that, where do I get more information, technical advice and assistance, since I'm highly interested in going to cashew farming? Okay, somebody help this gentleman quickly, then we'll go on. Say, where do I get technical information and assistance, since I'm highly interested in cashew production? Mr. Akoto, also want to do that one for him.
I will do that one.
Briefly, then we go. So start answering him now.
Well, I'm urging all people who are interested to invest in cashew to come to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Okay.
So that you have a lot of information. In addition to that, a lot of information also can be obtained from African Cashew Initiative Office, which is located at the airport residential area. So I'm urging everybody who's interested to come down there.
Okay.
And then we have also instituted a lot of radio programs in some districts where we are operating. That a lot of information can also be obtained from radio programs across the length and breadth of Ghana.
Wonderful. This was a good evening to you all, and thanks for this discussion. I'm a young entrepreneur who loves agriculture so much. Please, I want to know if new cashew varieties per acre can be more rewarding than cocoa, and how much returns per acre annually. Thanks. This is straight. The guy is on top.
Well, may I answer that question? Well, I'm also urging my young brother that if you look at the economics of it now, now at the farm gates, the price of raw nut is about 4 pounds. That is more than $1 now.
A kilo, yeah.
Okay, a kilo.
Okay.
And the FOB tema is around $1,400 per ton. So if you do the mathematics, you realize that at least if the figure that you are obtaining from cashew industry is not better than cocoa, probably equal to cocoa. Okay, that's how I'll put it.
That's right.
So we are urging all people who are interested to go in to come to us. And in addition to that, we have, through our collaboration, Cocoa Research Institute, we have come out with improved planting materials, which are giving us higher productivity. Like Mary had indicated. We in West Africa, we are leading, and we are talking between 650 kilograms to about 800 kilograms per hectare, which is quite significant. In fact, all globally, the figures are not bad compared to other countries. Thank you.
Wonderful. More. This one says, my name is Joe. Please, where do I send my product for buyers to buy in the central region, Gomorrah West? I think it looks like he has some products, some nuts. You want to do that in your field?
Well,
it seems to be doing all the... Okay.
Well, okay, we also have the African Cashew, we have an African Cashew Association, which is hosting us at Cocoa Hill, at the moderators, the Centenary Jubilee House at Osu Cocoa Hill. If you come over there, we can also link you up with some potential buyers, you know, as with the industry association, so that we can talk. But trading in cashew is a technical activity. You know, you have to go through, you need to understand the specification, you know, how to test for quality and to do that. So you need advice, you know, come to Mary's office is at, the ACI office is at the airport residential area next to, opposite the National Service headquarters, thereabout, and Mr. Koto's office too, at the ministry, opposite the customs headquarters. You cross the road over there.
The High Street.
Yes, High Street, yes.
That's right,
you know, so that you can come and let's talk and advise you into how to do it.
I'll do a couple of more messages, then I come back to, he's not speaking for some time now. Let me have 2 messages. You want to respond to any of some of these?
Not exactly.
Okay.
I just wanted to add on.
Okay.
You know, I think that the issue of value addition is critical. And like Mr. Akoto said, you know, when the expansion took place from 2000 to
2010.
To 2010, 40,000. You know, that brought in, you know, the mad rush for the cashew. Yes,
that's right.
Now, but when that happened, we also didn't, you know, look at improving or adding value to the nuts. The RCN, raw cashew nuts were what we were exporting to India and into the various, you know, countries. I think that if in the process of rolling out the project, we made a strong case for value addition or processing, I think that it would have addressed some of these issues. And then we would have built in-house, that's in-country capacity, to be able to come up with good quality, you know, well-processed cashew that would earn the country more
revenue.
Yes, foreign export. So I think that is one area that, like I said, if we can audit the cashew value chain and critically look at where, you know, we can, I would say, pinpoint and develop, it will be very good for the industry. The issue of now going in to expand, you know, our production base has become critical, because there are a lot of processing companies have the capacity, but they don't have the raw nuts, and they may have to go beyond Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, notably, to bring in the raw nuts. So it calls for a concerted effort at expanding the cashew production base. And then whilst doing that, along the line, we also ensure that value addition, you know, becomes central to the production.
Wonderful. This one says, 1, what are cashew nuts used for in terms of finished products? In terms of finished products, that's 1. 2, how long do cashew crops take to reach harvesting stage? From planting to harvesting. This from Adai Yinka Ebuakwa Kumasi. You want to do that for him now? Whilst I look at...
I will say that is the reason why we brought this.
Okay.
This is the fruit that is obtained from the cashew tree. And then the fruit consists of the apple and then the nut. These are the major products that are obtained from the cashew tree. And if you look at the uses of the apple, first, it is very good. It contains a lot of vitamins, especially vitamin C. And the vitamin C content is better than most of the fruits that we are having in an environment.
Okay.
That is 1. When it comes to processing, you can get both alcoholic and non-alcoholic juices from this.
I've seen cashew wine,
brandy, juices, etc., jam, etc.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to this, you subject this to processing. And then when you subject this to processing, we have the kernels. And the kernels also will be further. This is the kernels that have been further roasted, okay, and then packaged and be sold in the supermarkets along the street.
So this is ready to eat, right?
Yes, ready to eat.
I see.
Okay? So these are the major products. But we have other byproducts also that can also be obtained from the raw nuts. Okay? For example, after obtaining the kernels, the shell that is obtained, you can also extract a very important liquid. There's cashew nut shell liquid, which has a lot of industrial uses. And also, the shell also can be also converted to briquette. That can also serve as a fuel.
It's a multi-purpose fruit, if you like.
Okay, so there are lots of things that you can use for. Then the question is the duration from planting to harvesting.
Yes.
The improved planting material that we are promoting as a ministry. By the third year, you see signs of fruiting.
Ideally,
by the third year, all things being equal, 3 years.
I mean, before the improved seedling.
By improved, you are using seed,
yeah,
and that takes a longer time. That one will go maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
But the improved ones, by 3 years, you start harvesting. Then economic yields can obtain after 5 years. Okay. So between 3 and 5 years, you'll be picking. But you will not be able to get the amount, the investment that you have made. But all things being equal, and you're putting all the recommended practices in place, by 5th year, you should be able to break even and make some profits. And then the tree can be there for 40 years if it is well managed.
I see.
Good.
I see. This one, so please, my name is Paul. Paul, it says he's an Indian. You want to contribute to a okay, this is how you contribute to a program. Don't call. I've seen your number. Please, please don't call. Just as you've sent this message, send us your contribution via the same method. Thank you very much, Paul, for understanding. Another one here says, is it our government to send every street seller to join ADB for farming cashew activities? Wow, this is the big one. This one is deep. Okay, this one says, I work for GNPA. The company has won several awards for cashew exports. Yes. May the rep from ministry, which are ministries, please let me know specifically. May the representative from the ministry explain why they are not involving GNPA in deliberations on cashew. So which ministry are you referring to? You think it's your ministry?
Well, initially.
Okay.
Initially, when we started the implementation of the project that I've already mentioned, we were collaborating with GNPA regarding the buying.
Okay.
Okay? So it's not like that we are not involving them. Along the line, they stop buying. Okay? So when they stop buying, then our collaboration weakened. Okay? Not that we are not involving them. Okay. Doors are open. If we need to sit down as a stakeholders to look the way forward, they are prepared to embrace all stakeholders on board.
Okay. I'll do this last one. Not the last though, but the last before I come back to you. Say, good evening. I am Osman. Please, I will be happy if Mr. Oseyakoto can go to Tamale and educate the farmers about cashew. Thank you. Straightforward. I have a couple about 9 more, but let me come back to the table.
Wow, 9 more.
At which stage are we now in addressing the problems facing the cashew industry now? At which stage are we, and how far or close are we to a solution?
I will talk about the efforts we've made, and then maybe those from the ministry will respond.
Fantastic. Good.
We have sent our proposals to them, and they're looking at them. But there's so many actors and so many interests. You know, it's a business.
Yes.
So people are really having strong positions. And we're still talking.
They'll protect their position.
Yes, exactly. And making sure that we have a consensus. We may not have a 100% agreement, but we need to have a certain kind of consensus, you know, and agree on certain principles. For instance,
it's at the halfway, if you like.
Yes, one of the programs we've recommended is the export window, but not our farmers are not happy. You know, export window basically means that we're going to close our borders to export and allow processors to buy until such a time that they have enough, and then we open the border. But it's one of the recommendations on the table. And it's been strongly rejected because it can also backfire. It can have ripple effects. You know, farmers can then, you know, go on a luta and then decide to stop taking care of their farms. So we are talking and making sure that we have a consensus going forward. So we have sent proposals. Government is looking at them, and I don't know the stage at which they are looking at them. Maybe they're halfway through or they are full through. But since they are here, representatives are here, they should respond to.
So yes,
I think that, like he said, it's a useful input. But there are several moving parts to this whole cashew business and the cashew industry. And it has to be critically studied so that it becomes a win-win situation. Just like he himself said, if you're not careful and then you roll out a program that would backfire, it would rather hurt the industry rather than promoting it. So I think that, like he said, we've had their position, and it will be carefully studied. I'm sure Ministry of Food and Agriculture has also got the paper from them. They would also study the position, and ultimately would give it the best response in order to ensure that the industry grows and the industry becomes a pivot in our revenue generation. So I think that that is what the ministry is doing now.
Are we getting a response by the middle of the year or by the close of the
year? I was coming to that because it cannot be open-ended. We need to operate within a timeline.
Yes. Yeah, I gratefully...
Because you said earlier on that it's critically urgent.
Yes.
Exactly.
I do agree. We are looking at what they have presented vis-a-vis our export strategy. And like I said, it's a 5-year thing that we're rolling out, beginning this year. And we're hoping that by 2020, the total export for non-traditionals would hit about 5 billion. But if we handle and tackle the cashew industry and other tree crop industries very well, we probably would outstrip that by significant amounts. So that is why I said that we are having a look at what they have done, because the export strategy is embedded in what their 10-year program. So we're giving it a critical study, and I'm sure that it's not going to take years, forever. We would come out soon with
Paco, it's still open-ended.
You want me to put a time?
I mean, something.
Certainly, by the close of the month, they would get yes.
Something.
They would get a positive answer.
Mary, you've been quiet for some time. Now we getting somewhere, okay? Paco getting us close to somewhere, and he's spoken. Doc has also spoken. We see this as a critically urgent call, okay? What else are you ready to go? Ready to do in terms of supporting the industry? You have a passion for competitiveness and all that. What else are you ready to do to help the industry, ACI?
I started by saying that the African Cashew Initiative is a strategic alliance.
That's right.
And the project itself is a private-public partnership, which means that the African Cashew Initiative, led by the German International Development Corporation, does not work alone. So we work with all actors in the chain. And we are seated here with some of our key partners. Of course, we have also the private sector and other public sector people. Now, what I would like us to do is to think regional.
Okay.
Think regional is one of the messages I would like us to think about.
Okay.
Cashew is a crop grown in the West African region, for example. And if we look at our region, Ghana plays a role. We should take a look at also learning from what our colleagues, other countries are doing. What can Ghana learn out of that? And what do we want to take out for ourselves? I want to again commend the Ministry of Food and Agriculture of Ghana, the Cocoa Research Institute, and also the Ghana Cashew Industry Association, who in the past engaged, for example, Côte d'Ivoire, in order to be able to import raw cashew nut to Ghana. We already spoke about the high yields in Ghana. However, we are also aware that this quantity which we have currently is not even enough for the factories that we have.
Yeah.
We have many factories, and we have currently 2 international processing units that have proven that cashew processing can be competitive in Africa. However, they need support. And the kind of support they need, one of them is raw cashew nut. We spoke about production, where there's a huge potential for Ghana.
That's right.
And even the SADA project that we have alone can green the whole north of Ghana with cashew, with multiple benefits, economical benefits, social benefits, environmental benefits in terms of climate change. The next level for us is to think of how to fill this gap that the processors are facing.
Yes, yes.
Gideon mentioned currently some of the activities in Côte d'Ivoire, where he spoke about levies that are put back into the industry. One is that just this year, Côte d'Ivoire decided to charge 30 CFA per kilogram, which goes back to processors as support to help them to stand on their feet. The benefit for the country is a lot of employment. If we look at the total raw cashew nut produced today in Ghana of 70,000 metric tons, that alone giving employment of 14,000, at least 14,000 direct employment, over 100,000 indirect employment to our local communities.
I see.
When we look at wages, this is over 200 million Ghana cedis in wages annually if we can just use the whole total cashew that is produced in the country.
I see.
So there are many elements we have to look at. How do we create enabling environment for investors who want to come into the country, those that are already there and those who are thinking of coming on board? They need enabling environment, and we need to look at what is there and how we can make that work.
Wonderful.
And for me, one issue again is that we need to team up. We need to team up with other people in the region to make cashew a crop that is very beneficial to the country. Here again, I would say the Minister of Food and Agriculture had worked. For example, we had an exchange, the researchers exchange, to be able to bring about knowledge exchange between researchers. Because one of the key issues is market issue.
Wonderful.
The supply is less than the demand.
Yes.
Demand is growing at 10% per annum, whereas supply is less. So there's a huge potential for Ghana to be able to use the high-yielding crops, to be able to plant a lot, so that we can have a lot of cashews.
Oh my God!
And just before I leave, I conclude.
Before you end, yeah.
Côte d'Ivoire again is thinking about having in April, 22nd and 23rd of April in Dakar, a regional meeting of ministries where cashew is produced. And this is another opportunity for Ghana to link up with Côte d'Ivoire. Let's see together what are the mutual benefits for each of our countries.
Okay. Let's do this particular. It sounds very interesting to me. It says, we are currently in the cashew season.
Right.
And the foreign buyers are at the farm gates dictating very low prices. This is practical. It's on the ground. What are we doing about it?
Yes.
That's a huge problem also.
It's one of the big issues we raised before the ministry. Yes, and we think that foreign traders should not be at the farm gate. However, the definition of farm gate is a bit problematic. The farm gate, is it Sunyani, the regional capital, or is it Wenchi, the district capital, or is it the farmstead? We want foreign buyers to come in. We are not against foreign buyers. But I think sometimes the speculative nature of the trade, and we need to have a system of licensing and certification to know who is coming in, how much are you bringing in, what is the quantity available, to have a certain kind of traceability, and generally to regulate the industry better.
That is right.
We need to regulate it better. We need to have an organization or a committee or whatever it is with the imprimatur, the authority, to say that, like Cocoa Board does, something of that sort. You know, we call it the Cashew Management Committee, which we've recommended to the Minister of Trade. You know, so that we can look at these issues critically, not to sound that we don't want foreign buyers, but there's too much speculation going on. And so let me give you an example. Typically, a foreign buyer will come and see you as an agent and say, go and buy cashew for me with a commission. Because Ghana is a very liberal environment, the same person who asks you to go and buy will pass your back, you know, as we say in Ghana, and go also to the farm, also go and buy the same thing. But he's going to buy without a commission, so he's going to buy cheaper.
Exactly.
Because he is putting your commission on top, so you are going to buy it at a higher price, but he's going to buy it cheaper. So at the end of the day, you have the same buyer having multiplied itself, chasing a little amount of good. It creates artificial, what do you call it, shortage.
That's right.
You know, which is not helpful in the industry. That is why we are calling for a cashew management committee, you know, authorized by the Minister of Trade or the Ministry of Finance with some directive, what we call, not legislative instrument, but a sort of an executive instrument or
a legal framework, if you like.
Yeah, you know, to back it so that we can then see, we can put in a system of licensing and certification, just as everybody does. Togo is doing it, Benin is doing it, Cote d'Ivoire is doing it. You can't go to Vietnam and just go beyond the capital into the village to go and buy cashew. No, it's not done anywhere in the world.
That's right.
Some of them are coming with student visas. You know, they come
But
and
when
they become
they do
businessmen.
something else.
Some people are just briefcases, you know, so you don't even know where they are. You know, and it's a bit messy.
Complex
Yes, exactly.
if you
And it's a
like.
bit messy. It's not advisable. We need to put our acts together as a nation, you know, and streamline things a little bit.
This one sounds a bit, you know, secondary. But it says, I have a big cashew tree in my house. I want to know what to do with the nuts. And it's plenty, and it's wasting away. Any help?
There's a market there.
Any help for him?
A market for it.
Yeah.
If I can just add a little bit to what he said.
Okay, all right.
I think that, you see, just like he said, I was even going to say that you could probably give a different nomenclature to your maybe a cashew council, you know, which becomes an umbrella body that will superintend, you know, the cashew activity in the country. Like he said, issues of standards are there. I mean, quality issues are in there. You know, and regulation. You know, so if that body sits up there, and all people who enter the country who want to buy cashew at whatever level, whether it is at the capital, region, or district, would have to, you know, go through some form of registration, you know, where you are given some authority to go and then abide. Then at least we know that there is some control. You understand that?
That's right.
We can tell how much is even leaving the country and how much would remain in the country for value addition. No, but at the moment, it's like it's a free-for-all thing, and the person with the best lobby is the one who can buy. You know, the raw
That could be
cashew
dangerous. I
yes,
mean,
and that really is.
I've got about 2 minutes to go, if I'm right. But somebody wants a clarification. He says, I want to know the difference between African Cashew Alliance and African Cashew Initiative. He says, I was in Osu last week to visit CIAG, that's your association, and I had an excellent technical advice from ACA. I'm a bit confused between the two. Wants to know. Want to do that for us, Mary? Okay.
Yes,
all right.
yes, I'll do that.
Okay.
So the African Cashew Alliance, which the gentleman visited, is a supranational association of cashew stakeholders across several countries and also abroad, all cashew. African Cashew Initiative is a project founded by the German government,
You have 10 seconds to
the
finish
Bill
for
and
me,
Melinda
Mary.
Gates Foundation, and several private and public actors.
Okay. All right. So I think my time is run. It's flew like something. I must say very big thanks to you all the same. Many thanks to you, Mr. Seth Osei Akoto, our Deputy Director Crops, and he's also in charge of cashew at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Thanks very much, Seth, for your time this evening. Many thanks to you, Ms. Mary Ajanjo, Director, Private Sector Development at the African Cashew Initiative. Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. Thanks very much. I hear you just flew in. Appreciations to you also, Dr. Gideon Agbe, Executive Board Member, Cashew Industry Association of Ghana. And many thanks to you also, Mr. Papako Battels. Is Papako Battels in charge of logistics and value chain at the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Time runs so fast. And many thanks to all those who sent out your messages. A lot more I couldn't have read because of the time. But we'll find time and meet you again. Okay, many thanks also to you. The show will be back next Thursday, God willing. Until then, bye for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.